Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to be going over my Bujin deck profile, the same one that I use in real life. This isn't a meta deck. This isn't one that's going to get you a lot of wins. You definitely can and will brick with this deck, but I think it's a lot of fun to play. So I have Bujin Haruko. I'm just a pendulum Bujin monster who, if I have a Bujin XYZ on the field, I can potentially swap into another Bujin XYZ, so good for kind of bringing out different ones. Archfiend Eccentric, just a good way to get rid of either spells or trap cards, and as well as complete a pendulum scale with Haruko. Bujin Yamato, a good way to get cards from the deck to either the graveyard or my hand, depending on the situation. Bujingi Quillin, just a good way to get rid of a face-up card on the field. Bujingi Turtle, a good way to protect me against card effects. Bujingi Crane, a good attack defense card, especially if it's in my hand, or potentially to boost my attack if it's my turn. Bujingi Ophidian, definitely I use it a lot more in Duel Links, but just a way to attack directly. Bujin Mikazuchi, a 1900 attack, not too bad for the Bujin, and also a potential backup if one of my own Beast Warriors goes down. Bujingi Ibis just lets me do piercing damage. And Bujingi Boar, a good way to potentially shift one of my opponents into defense position and also makes their defense 0, so not too bad there. Bujingi Centipede, a good way to get rid of a spell or trap card. Bujingi Raven, I also have this one as a backup if it's in my hand, just a good way to, if one of my cards gets destroyed, I can destroy one of my opponent's cards. Bujin Arasuda, for me, I use him as a good combo with Hairume to bring out a second card for an XYZ summon. Bujingi Swallow, just letting one of my Bujins attack twice. Bujingi Hare, a good way to protect one of my Bujins from getting destroyed by battle or card effects. Hairume, we already kind of talked about, so we have to banish a card to summon Hairume, but whenever I do that, Arasuda's effect activates, and I can bring them both out on the field to go into an XYZ summon. Sinew, he's just a good attack defense, essentially gaining my opponent's attack during that attack they're trying to do. Bujin Mahatatsu, so a good way to move cards from deck to graveyard, or potentially graveyard to hand, whatever I want to do there. Torafun, I have 3 copies of him. He's the main thing I'm trying to get out in this deck. He essentially lets me start the XYZ combo process. By sacrificing himself, I can bring out 2 Bujins. Usually it's going to be Mahatatsu and Turtle in the beginning, just to try and get some kind of defense. Maybe Hare, depending on what's in my hand. Chaos Dragon Levianeer, I really have in this deck just because I have a lot of light monsters. I could easily bring it out, but also it would help me bring out the Blackluster Soldier that I have for the Link monster. Raigeki, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Monster Reborn, revive a monster from mine or my opponent's graveyard. Galaxy Cyclone, just lets me destroy a set spell or trap card, and then it's one in the graveyard. I can destroy a face-up one. Fire Formation Tenki, so this is another way to help me get Torafun into my hand, especially on first turn situations, or another Beast Warrior Bujin monster. Mystical Space Typhoon, destroying a spell or trap card. Book of Moon, just switching monster to face down defense position. Definitely see a lot of play in Duel Links for me. Forbidden Lance, for me, most of the time I've used it as a defensive card to protect me against opponent's spell or traps. Photon Lead, again, just a way to try and get monsters out on the field to use for XYZ material. Windstorm of Itakwa, essentially ending the opponent's battle phase if played at the right time. Raigeki Break, just a card destruction. Karma Cut, monster banishment, pretty much. Drowning Mirror Force, the reason why I chose this over regular Mirror Force is it doesn't do destruction. It sends it back to the deck, so cards that protect against destruction, this would still hit them. Floodgate Trap Hole, so putting a monster into face down to defense position indefinitely, unless I attack it. And then lastly for the main deck, DNA Surgery. You can kind of use it for disruption if the deck is potentially, like you're going against, is very type specific. Mostly I use it for me putting things as Beast Warrior, so that way I can use a regular Bujin to activate some effects that I couldn't normally. Then we go into the extra deck, so we have number F0 Utopic Future and number F0 Utopic Draco Future. So this is a good combo I can try and get, especially if I get 2 XYZ monsters, which is pretty easy to get. And then kind of have a pretty beefy card that can block opponents' effects and then take control of their card. Paladynamo, he's a good one to potentially just negate an opponent's card effect and make its attack 0 so you can destroy it. Susanoo, so this is one of the main ones of my deck. It essentially lets me send cards to either my graveyard or my hand once he's on the field. Kagutsuchi, just kind of a beat stick for the Bujins and protection based on his effect. Amaterasu, the most thing that I use for her is to usually go into Utopic if I'm going to use her, because essentially she can make me get that extra XYZ monster onto the field. Malevolent Sin, definitely used more in Duel Links, but if I'm bringing out Malevolent Sin and the monster is in the defense position, I'm more than likely just going to go into Corbage so I can get that monster back into the deck instead of it coming back next turn. Tornado Dragon, essentially just spell or trap defense, especially on your opponent's turn. And Light Dragon at Igniter. So for him, so far what he's done for me is a good all monster protection, especially against Dark Hole, Regeki. Whenever they try and launch those, I can detach a material and then, none of my monsters are destroyed. I haven't had to use his second effect just yet, which I could destroy a monster on the field. We already kind of went over Corbage. Drill Driver Vespinato, I really only use him to kind of further the combo if I can have Susanoo on the field and then I need to bring out Susanoo again. I could just stack Vespinato on top or potentially Amaterasu depending on the cards, and then I can bring out another Susanoo. Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, so for him I've only used him I think once or twice so far. Really situational based, but it's nice to have that option just in case I need to get rid of the field. Ahashima, so this is the card that I'm going to summon almost every single time first if I can, and if it is the right play, because essentially going from here I can have Ahashima into an XYZ and then go from there into multiple other combos. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, so like I said, I really only bring him out if I have Levianeer. I mean, unless the situation calls for it, I don't see sending 3 monsters to summon him unless it's Levianeer. That way he doesn't get affected by card effects. But I can if I needed to. I've had plenty of opportunity to do it in the past, but in those situations it was just better to keep the cards. But that's essentially the Bujin deck that I have. Like I said, it's definitely nothing meta. It's just something fun to play. It's nice to have some disruption on your turn. Nice to bring out all these XYZ monsters. But yeah. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.